Hey there, Whovians, and welcome to the final episode of Season 15, or Season 2, whatever you want to call it. Whatever. We're talking all about the reality war. And Episode 8, it was the second part of a two-part finale, and oh boy, boy, do we have a lot to talk about. And we've got a great crew to talk all about it. Of course, before we get started, this is the warning. This is where we're going to put our line in the sand. We're going to spoil the hell out of this one, folks. And, you know, if you haven't seen it, just go on to Facebook. Everyone else is spoiling it up there on social media. So,
or they're texting you directly.
Exactly. Really?
Yes. People I haven't talked to in months. Message me directly.
Wow.
And I went,
oh, yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks. Yeah. So, folks, we're going to be spoiling this on the show. You know, at least when this comes out, the show will almost be a week old. So you don't have to blame your friends at Earth Station Who for ruining it for you. So, you know, we'll talk all about it and find out who spoiled it for each one of us. So we're in there. So I think it'll be a blast. We got a great crew lined up tonight, and welcome to the show. You've heard her emails all season long. Let's welcome a longtime friend of the show, Elizabeth Laney. Welcome.
Hi, everybody.
It has been forever. It is so good to see you in person, kind of, sort of.
Thank you. It's great to be here. I've been, like you said, longtime friend of the show. I think I first found out about it at Dragon Con over a decade ago.
Oh, yeah.
Back before ESW was its own channel. And I'm just ecstatic to be here and talk about this wonderful episode tonight.
I remember the first time I met you at Dragon Con, you were dressed in Star Trek Gab. And, you know, you were like, are you Mike Faber from ESO? And I was like, yeah. And it's like, I'm Elizabeth Laney. And it's like, oh my God. It was awesome. This is before webcams and stuff like that. So we never had seen each other really in person. So it was awesome because you've been an avid emailer for us for a long, long time. But you've also commented on Facebook or on other social media, and it's just been great. Do you want to tell everyone a little bit about you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm a historian and genealogist, or as I like to tell people, a busybody, but I get paid to do it. And I am a longtime sci-fi fantasy nerd, Star Trek and Star Wars early on, and really came late to Doctor Who. I started with David Tennant in the new era. Shakespeare Code was my first episode that I ever saw. And just, it combined a lot of the stuff that I loved, including history and sci-fi. So I really got on board with that. But I've been a longtime member of the ESO and ESW Facebook pages, and I try to leave reviews wherever I listen to my podcasts whenever I can to make sure more people find out about it as well.
And that's wonderful.
Thank you for that.
We do appreciate you. For a long time, you were a long-time patron, and, you know, it's been awesome that, you know, you've just been one of our best supporters. So I thought it was perfect for you to be with us for the final. So I think this is awesome. And sadly enough, we're going to forego the geek seat tonight just because, you know, we've got a lot to talk about. And and I'm sure we're going to be going overtime again this week. So we're going to be talking about. So that just ensures that Elizabeth is going to come back to be able to, you know, tell us about her history and, you know, all her Whovian love. So it's pretty cool.
I was looking forward to being strapped in the geek seat, though.
I know.
You can blame RTD.
yes.
Yes, everybody else is.
Everyone else is blaming Russell T. Davies. So yeah, exactly. You said, damn it, I wanted to be tied up. Damn. Yeah. So, and that's a personal thing, but, you know, some people really enjoy it with the geek seat. So it's a cool thing. Let's say hey to our regulars also. Let's say hello to Mr. Michael Gordon.
Howdy.
And Ms. Mary Ogle.
Hi, everybody. It is fantastic to be here.
And last but never least, Ms. Melanie Dean.
Hello, fellow Whovians. I can't wait to start chatting Who with you.
Yeah, this is cool because this is our end of our first full season of reviewing Who with you as our co-host.
Yeah.
And it's been wonderful.
I should actually said not chatting. It's going to be bemoaning today.
Yeah.
It'll be terrible.
I don't know how to
I'll join you for at least part of it. So
exactly. So, folks, we definitely would love to hear from you guys. Feedback at earthstationwho.com is the best way to get in touch with us. And we do have a piece of email. So I think Elizabeth has now competition from Peter, with the emails coming to us. So, I love it. I love getting emails. It shows that people are listening. And that's the cool thing to do. And, love it, hate it, or whatever, this is Doctor Who. We're all here for the passion of it. And without anything else to say, let's jump in with both feet. We're going to review the reality war. So, literally, this episode picked up right from where it ended. And I want to get initial thoughts from each one of us. Don't go into too much detail and stuff. I just want initial thoughts, overall and such. We'll do our ratings at the end of the show like we always do. And all the regulars have the right to change their score from last week if they want in this. So, I'll be very curious to see what happens with this one. All right, let's start with our guest, Elizabeth. What are your initial thoughts of this story?
Well, having watched it several times now, I'm still not sure what I saw. Okay. I know that I didn't hate it because I certainly have had that reaction to final episodes of Doctors. We won't mention anything about the Matt Smith episode. But I don't know that I liked it either. It was jam-packed. It had so much going on. But, I went into it as Mike Gordon advised last week, knowing that it was RTD, knowing that that's what we were going to get. And you know what? I can't say that he disappointed. It was a very RTD closer. So there were a lot of little things that I loved throughout, a lot of big things that I'm still scratching my head over, and a big disappointment at the very end for me, which I'm sure we'll get into.
Okay. Mary.
Wow. Okay. So I had a very knee-jerk reaction. It's not really how I feel now. I've got off my drama queen binge after a little while. But my knee-jerk reaction, my very first thought after the end of this episode was, well, that's it for me and Doctor Who. Wow. And it was not because of the reasons people may think. It's not Billie Piper. It was because, well, it was two things, really. One was, if I have to see one more time, the women are not real women until they are mothers trope.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I may start screaming. I have seen, I talked before, and I will not go into it now, about what I think are RTD's problems in portraying women. This was very par for the course, actually, for RTD. I mean, either they're Madonna or they're Shrew. So that pissed me off. So that was one of the reasons why I seriously considered not coming back. Well, maybe not seriously considered, but had my moment. And haha moment, Billie Piper.
We'll get into that. We'll get to that one.
Yeah. And the other reason was real grief. I mean, real grief that Ncuti was leaving, because we have such little representation as a queer person. And it was such a short time with him. And I'm not blaming anybody. I think it was Ncuti's decision to go. And I understand, I really do. But it just felt like in a year where, let's just say it's been a pretty bad year for any marginalized people. Anybody who's not like a white male Christian evangelist in the US, at least, been a pretty bad year.
Damn straight.
So when you have, representation in the way that Doctor Who was allowing it to happen, the loss of it just felt huge. Okay. And so it took me a while to process that. And I think I'm still processing it. I mean, overall, I don't think it was the worst episode in the world. I think it was okay. It was not, at least it wasn't the end of time. It was a lot better than David Tennant's send off. It was a lot better than Matt Smith's send off. It had its ups and downs. We'll just put it that way.
Okay, I think that's totally fair. Mr. Gordon.
Oh boy, I watched it late on Saturday because I was doing a lot of family things and kept off the internet, so didn't have anything spoiled. So that was a plus. And even though I guess I had prepared Elizabeth
for this moment,
I think I had prepared Elizabeth. I'm not sure exactly if I prepared myself. I'm going to try really, really hard this whole episode, this whole review, to concentrate on this episode and not the implications that this going forward, because I know we're doing a season review next time. So, yes. And there's so much to talk about. Although RTD makes it very difficult to discuss the actual story that takes place here because it doesn't seem like he cares about the actual story that takes place. He's more interested in, last week I complained that there were just too many characters. He adds 4 more characters in this, including the Vlinks, who is the most useless character in the whole franchise.
Hey, at least he was minor in this episode.
He's always minor.
Yeah.
There's no need for him. That's, if you want to know how, good RTD has it as a showrunner, just look at the Vlinks, because there's no reason to have that expense in this show. But enough said about him. After I watched it, during the time that I watched it, there were 2 things that were going on. One, I found myself getting a massive headache because it was just too much. It was just too much. And then I was very, very sad because, as Mary pointed out, and for a lot of reasons, Ncuti has been amazing. Mm-hmm. And I am really sorry to see him go. I think he is, in a lot of ways, the Doctor that we need right now. And he's so good. I can understand him wanting to leave. I can understand the behind the scenes stuff. And I try not to let that interfere with my enjoyment of the actual stories. But again, RTD makes it difficult because the actual story is weak. Yeah, I mean, there's so many things here that I just scratched my head about. And just, there's, for RTD has this annoying habit of answering questions with 4 more questions. The fact that he didn't know when they were making this if they were going to get a 3rd season, right?
Right.
This is how he was going to leave it? This is how he was going to leave things? I don't understand that. I don't, if this is the last episode of Doctor Who that we get for a while, why would you end it that way? That's just terrible. So I gotta say, this is, I didn't even want to watch it again.
Okay.
To do this episode, but I was like, okay, Mike, you really need to watch it again to sort of sort out your feelings, et cetera, et cetera. So I watched it this afternoon again. I must say that there are a lot of really, really good moments in this. And everybody, apart from RTD, is doing a phenomenal job. Though, from wardrobe to music to special effects to acting to, there's a lot of really amazing things happening here. I just wish it was in service of a better story.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Mel.
What?
Exactly.
Yes.
What's going on?
I'm hearing David Tennant when you do that, right?
Yes, absolutely, because it was in my head too. I was just hearing him go, what?
Hey, at least the other guy didn't show up again.
What? So I was spoiled. I'm really good at staying away from spoilers because I won't go on social media until I watch it. So, as we mentioned earlier, I had friends that I haven't talked to in a while put me in a group chat and talked about the episode. I went, and even Kevin, my husband, is going, wait, what's going on? I went, I got it. I just got spoiled. You don't want to hear this. And then, because now I'm like, okay, it was the regeneration.
Of course.
And I was like, what do you mean regeneration? So first, I'm accustomed to being kind of prepared that this is going to be an actor leaving a show. So there's my first blindside via text. I had to, at this point, go look to see what the regeneration was. I'm like, okay, more what? Then I'm like, well, I don't understand what the heck's going on. So then that's when I heard about we shot something else instead. And then there apparently had been a rewrite. And then, now I go into the why. So now I'm trying to find out about whether or not, the RTT thought it was going to be 2 seasons. Then we weren't sure about if it's going to be 3 seasons. So shooting might have been in a will they, won't they? Well, I'm a working actor, so I got to keep, I got to do what's best for me.
Working in everything.
So, and for me, oddly enough, knowing some of that background drama before I watched this helped me. Kevin was like to a lot. Mary was saying, he's done. He was like, no. Shooty brought him back. He wasn't happy after the Chibnall area. He was okay, passive. Shooty brought him back as a fan. He loved the Doctor. He was ready to be back on Doctor Who. That poor man is upset right now because he's just in this, what the heck is this? So me kind of explaining a little of the background makes more sense, but it's sad that I have to figure out the background drama to be the thing that helps me digest a story, when in reality, those things should be completely not completely separate.
Right. Exactly.
So what? So yeah, exactly. I'm going to keep it there. I was going to keep it there because I have a lot of grievances and I'm ready to talk about each one of them.
Oh, let's go. We're going to have a list of it and everything.
It's going to be a scroll. There's great things too, but I can't see them right now because some of these trees in this forest are on fire. It's a beautiful forest, but these trees are on fire and I can't stop looking at them.
I agree completely with what everyone is saying. After I watched it, I was just like, what? Because I was not prepared for the regeneration. And, haters have been saying, oh, it's his last episode, blah, blah, blah. And up until 2-3 weeks ago, he wasn't even sure if it was going to be his last episode. And so, like Mel had said, there had been a scene already shot for the final. You could see pictures of them at the disco, and the Doctor's actually wearing the outfit he first appeared in, and in the Ruby Sunday episode, and so it was interesting to see about it. And I, afterwards I read all about the scene and how Susan was going to be involved, and that was going to lead into season 3. And so that was all.
Can I just counter that for a second?
Not really right now, because I want to give my thoughts first before because I didn't interrupt you. So basically, it's just interesting that we got that. There was a lot to like in this episode. There was a lot. But there was also a lot I was like chewing bullets, and I was like, what are we watching? This is crap. And RTD's doing it to us again. And then it was interesting. I didn't hate this episode. I didn't hate the ending. And you know what? A lot of people were already writing on Facebook, oh, Faber's hating that it's Billy Piper as the regeneration. And I said, no, I've grown to respect a lot of Billy Piper, watching her in other projects she's worked on, and just so much different shows. So I'm not upset that she's coming into the show. Do I think she's the Doctor? We'll have to wait and see, because there's a lot of questions with that too. I thought some of the characters were wiped away way too quickly, and I like some of the surprises we've gotten. Others, I was just like, I have a lot of thoughts with it, and we're going to dive into this, and might as well jump in. Now, Mr. Gordon, now you can do your thoughts.
No, no, no. The only question I have is that the thing I find confusing, and I guess, we'll find out everything in due time. And I'm not, it doesn't matter because what happens, happens, right? So, but, when I was watching the Unleashed and all the makings of and all that kind of thing, it's pretty clear that he was wrapped by the end of that main production block. Like when he says goodbye to the crew and everything like that, that's not added on. That was done in principal photography.
That was done later, though, dude. That it literally, a lot of the ending was literally within the last month, and it's already come out.
It's not what it said. I mean, that's not what it said in the making of. That's what I'm just saying.
I know,
so that's why there's confusion there.
That's okay. And so, let's start at the beginning of the episode. And you literally get Shooty falling to his supposed death, and you then had the magic door open. It's like, okay, let's throw in a MacGuffin right there. It's just like, I loved seeing Anita back. I thought it
I was kind of happy on that. The door at first I was a MacGuffin, but
cool.
But since it was Anita, I was like, I'm gonna fight with this.
Yes, the new manager, of course, at the Time Hotel.
Yeah, I actually loved that part.
Yeah,
I love Anita. And as I said before, when we got introduced to her, I didn't really feel the need to really make her to follow up with her because I liked her so much as is. But they use her as a just easy, cheap escape. Then she's lovelorn for the doctor, so she gets rejected and gets pregnant. And then she's not used really except for to as a doorstop for the rest of the episode. And I was like, that's a waste.
That I kind of agree with that. I thought the initial scene.
She's better than that.
When you first saw her, it was great to have her back. It was great to see the Time Hotel again. And I love how the time fix was causing havoc with the Time Hotel. Totally makes sense. And I loved, the whole thing with, you got, her looking in at the doctor in the different eras and everything. She, on her free time, she was looking for the doctor. And then when she saw the doctor dancing with Rogue, it's like, oh, okay. And I thought it was kind of ironic that she went to the head of HR and got her pregnant.
I loved Anita when we saw her in Joy to the World, and I love seeing her come back. I have to agree with Mike Gordon a little bit here, though, because on one hand, jumping back in time and seeing some of those older versions of the Doctor was great. I love it when Doctor Who does that. But then to kind of end it with her being like, oh, and then I saw you dancing with this guy, and then I ran off to another guy. I didn't like that either. I don't like it when I see the companions kind of mooning over the Doctor, or maybe when they take it too far,
Exactly.
Which they frequently do in Doctor Who. So that ruined it a little bit for me. But on the other hand, I really like this actress. I like the character when you take the lovelorn doctor parts out of it. So she was one of those bright spots, along with a couple of the other background characters that I just really enjoyed seeing in this episode, since it lacked a great storyline to follow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think RTD took a character that Stephen Moffat created and did her harm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. I didn't think she was that much of a character in it. She was, we even said it when we did our review, she wasn't the main focus of it. She was like a secondary character in the, Joy to the World. And so it was interesting to see. I didn't think much depth into her. I didn't, after the episode, I didn't ever think of her again. I didn't oh, I am so dying for Anita to come back, type thing. And so I was surprised about it. I liked it, and I thought it was pleasant to see. But I agree with what Mike said, that after the initial, hey, she's back, she was a doorstop. She was just holding the doors open to reality, and I thought that was a waste. And then the little thing when at the very end, when she after she went back, oh, the boss,
Yep.
and it's like, oh,
Yeah, well, that was just a really cheap joke. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of cheap jokes
They're
yes.
in
not
this episode.
jokes, but they're like they're
It's a new
references
plot
to
thread.
things that we might never ever see.
That's what I thought Anita was doing when she was when she was going through and seeing, looking for the doctor, and it ended with her seeing him with Rogue. I don't know, I'm going to be skipping forward a bit here, but sorry. We'll get back
That's
here.
okay.
Yeah,
Wibbly wobbly,
timey
timey-wimey.
Okay, cool. Sorry.
When have we ever done anything on the show in order? Come on.
I, honest to God, think that was RTD foreshadowing the main plot point and then I think he erased this in his own way, of the Dr. Rogue love story. Because here we go again. All of a sudden, Rogue's just gone. We're just done with him. We're never going to touch him again.
Exactly.
I just had this feeling that he did it in the beginning to remind everybody of Rogue again, because the last episode we saw Rogue real quick from the Hell Dimension.
Mhm.
Reminded of Rogue again. Then later on with Poppy, I agree with Mary. I was completely turned off when all of a sudden it became my daughter, my daughter, my daughter, my daughter.
Exactly.
The whole forced family thing between Belinda suddenly becoming ultra possessive mother, I did not like.
Mm-mm.
And I didn't really like the doctor going crazy with the this is my daughter, blah blah blah. But I thought I kind of saw this more of I just thought it was just another being. It's Poppy, because clearly he remembers Poppy back from Space Babies. He's brought that up. What the hell?
Yeah.
And when I was confused a little bit, follow me here. We get to the end. Timey-wimey. We get to the end where they're in the him, Belinda, Poppy, and Ruby are in the TARDIS. Poppy's in the little bassinet. And then the doctor's folding the thing and handing it back.
My heart was breaking.
And Ruby's watching this. And she's kind of getting confused.
Yeah.
And each time Belinda handed it to him, he folded it again, then gave it to her. And folded it again and gave it to her. And you could see that Ruby is us watching what the hell is going on. So we're all kind of getting into what is this? And then when he finally folded it, it's getting smaller and smaller. And that he did the magic trick and it's gone. Like the memory's gone. To me, that was him. I think that was the original storyline of him fixing the Poppy part of, what, are you going to travel with the daughter? Do you have a significant situationship here with Belinda? I don't know. But then he winks at Ruby. So I'm thinking, oh, okay, so this is just kind of fixed itself. All right, the not having a daughter, blah, blah, blah. Then suddenly we're back on where's Poppy, which to me felt like, is this the part where RTD decided we needed to go back into the story and wedge in a new ending? Because I thought this was Rogue, he's going to figure out the situationship. Okay, Poppy's gone, Belinda's happy, and then we went from where's Poppy to here's Poppy to where's Poppy to I don't know.
Right.
The whiplash was throwing me off, and then we just completely disappeared with Rogue. I have a feeling that's where it went to we need to fix this, fix it, refix it.
Mm-hmm.
But I've had fanfic that was
of course.
But anyway.
But then you also get the whole thing with, then with all that, with the thing with Ruby. Ruby's remembering things. Why does she remember things when she was in the Wish world? Why does she, and we talked about that last week a bit. And then, the whole thing with she was the only one able to remember Poppy. And, there's still more to Ruby that I don't think we're ever going to get answered.
No, and I almost think that RTD was in the, if I confuse the audience enough, they're just going to have to go with it.
Okay, so
it doesn't matter that there's no story here at all.
Yeah.
The first time I watched it, I thought, oh, well, now the mystery of Ruby Sunday continues, and who knows if we'll ever get answers for this.
Right.
Second time I watched it, I was kind of like, and maybe it's because I watched some of the behind the scenes stuff, and I, listened to some of the art stuff that RTD had to say in his defense. And I thought, I think it's they try to make it pretty clear that she remembers because of what happened in 73 Yards. And even though when she confronts the doctor about it, why did I remember? Like, none of them know about that. So that's something that we know that they don't know. So I don't think that there's so much of mystery with her now. It's just that there's like that's an answer that we know that they don't.
But they also answered it a little bit why she remembers, because she was also a baby that disappeared in the church on Ruby Road. That it was, she, got wiped out of time as Poppy did in this. And then they had to throw in on top of it, which didn't make sense, that the doctor's been helping Belinda out since she was a little child.
Yeah, that part I went. Wait, sorry, what?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Came out of nowhere.
I didn't know where that was. Yeah. I think that's. See, I think those scenes that's where I think the party scene was, the dance scene was supposed to be, because I think Belinda was supposed to be there when we saw the doctor in the first place.
Maybe
in a flashback there.
So, but it was interesting because they were forcing that now. Oh, the doctor's always been part of Belinda's life, and which doesn't, it doesn't. Yeah, exactly. And then the whole thing with, the retconning in. Oh, I've always mentioned Poppy. That's the reason I needed to. And they've obviously filmed it. That those scenes in those certain episodes, because they were in the costumes and everything, and so it was just like that.
Yeah, but even
then, that was heavy-handed. That was
they were filmed because I went back on that too. I'm like, did they really film that during when they made those scenes? And I'm looking at going, if it was a wide shot, it was in a TARDIS, and it was just hair, makeup, costume, and if it was like the one where she had gotten shot or whatever, and she's laying on the ground and she's got her spacesuit on. Everything else that would have been not in the TARDIS was so close up.
It could have been anywhere.
Easily faked it.
Yeah, it could.
Those could have been during that stuff could have been done during the reshoot.
But there was even a couple of times there was costumes that they were in that we didn't even get to see. So it also shows that they had other adventures that we didn't.
That's cool.
And I love that.
I like that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Future big finish, as we like to say. So, which is pretty awesome. And I want more shooty, so,
Yes.
So,
Can I just say the thing that I like the best?
Of course.
Jodie.
Oh my God, that was amazing. That was awesome. For that, thank God.
We were watching the episode with the Faulkners, and both myself and Mike Faulkner, when Jodie popped up, we both did a Tenet. What? What?
As I said, I was getting a headache. It was so much thrown at me. I was really not happy with the way, we haven't even talked about it yet, but the way the Ronnie's handled and Omega and all that crap. But Jodie shows up, chills. I mean, I literally had chills. Yeah. And this is coming from a podcast that makes its living like dissing the Chibnall era, right? But I saw Jodie.
I wouldn't say it's a living night. It's really not a living.
But we never dissed
Trust me, I see our bank account. It's definitely not a living.
Dissing that era. So a reminder of that era is probably not the best thing to throw at me during this whole thing.
Just that writing.
And yet, say what you will about RTD, say what you will about the way he treats women characters, I like that. But I'm not saying I disagree with you, but I will challenge you to say that Jodie was written better here in these 5 minutes than she was the entire run of the Chibnall.
I absolutely
Bingo.
agree with you. Yes. I agree with you.
I agree 100% with you.
That was like the highlight of the episode for me.
It was.
It was saying, I don't say I love you.
Spectacular.
I don't say I love. Oh, maybe I should say that to Yaz.
And I loved when he said, I loved when he said, "You won't," but she knows.
Yeah, the interaction between the two of them, it was magical. It was magical, and it was the brightest spot in this chaotic mess. Yes,
it was definitely a breath of fresh air.
And again, timey-wimey, we don't care just why it happens. I mean, that's what RTD banks on. But here it worked. It worked. And I also think, the whole thing about that sequence where, they're folding the blanket and everything like that. I don't know if that was in the script, but man, that was beautifully shot and edited, the way that was handled. And it was so emotional. I mean, it's hard not to get emotional during that. Even the second time I watched it, I was like, damn, they're really this is really powerful.
I was getting choked up, and I knew where it was.
Ooh, if Faber was getting choked up.
You know,
I missed it.
I know.
I missed it the first time. So going back and watching it a second time, finally realizing what was happening and seeing Ruby's reactions with that, it was a chilling moment.
Yeah.
And
I didn't even really care. The doctor was tucking her away.
I didn't even really care about. The thing is, RTD never really fully got me to care about Poppy as a character. Mm-hmm. So I didn't really care that she was dying or she was gone. She was disappearing. Just that moment was powerful. So I mean, man, what a major ball drop was that whole thing with Poppy, and the fact that Time Lords can't have children and all of that just was like, what are you doing?
Yeah, and also, I mean, come on. That's your big... I'm sterile. You're a freaking Time Lord. You can't figure out a way to make more Time Lords. Give me a break.
Yeah, you know? the whole thing, that whole speech about, Time Lords are barren. They, something about the when they got wiped out, blah, blah, blah. It didn't sit well with me.
It was lame. It was
a stupid answer. And, that it answers then, how is Susan then the granddaughter? How did in the Capaldi era, when Capaldi, after he was stuck in the fob watch for all those years, that, that when he went to Gallifrey, there were children there.
Mm-hmm. Well, didn't they say it happened after? Like during the whole, I don't know. See, I lose track of
Gallifrey's been destroyed so many frippin' times.
I know. That's why I'm like, which time are we talking about?
So
it's hard to.
I think it was supposed to be after all of that, but does it really matter?
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't matter. And the whole thing. I loved Mel's reaction when she found out that the Ronnie was back.
Yes.
That was good.
Yeah, okay, that was good.
The showdown between the Ronnie and Mel was another highlight.
You. And I loved, you're still alive,
Yeah, the two of them going at each other was like, ooh, give me more of this, please.
I was almost expecting,
I have been loving modern Mel. I mean, I can't say that I've watched many of the older episodes, but I love it. In fact, I usually want to see this modern version of Mel whenever she comes on. I'm like, get rid of everyone else. Just show me more of Mel, because I've enjoyed her so much. And this was another one where, again, she's one of the background characters that just kind of stole the show for me throughout this. I was looking forward to when she was reacting to things and interacting with the doctor, because everything else was such a mess, but I loved her in it.
Classic Mel's better in Big Finish again.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
But it's also really felt to me like they just don't know what to do with the Time Lords, plural. And they always keep throwing more at us in terms of what the Time Lords are or why they aren't, but they don't know what to do with them, so they just tuck them away. They make them disappear. And this is just another instance throwing, both the Time Lords are now Baron and Omega at us, and then not really doing anything with it to enrich the history or show us more about the Time Lords.
They've never known what to do with the Time Lords. Yeah. Even the old series, they didn't know what to do with the Time Lords.
Yeah, if you're a showrunner, you should know what to freaking do with the Time Lords.
And yet they never do.
Exactly. My worst part about the episode, and many people thought it was the regeneration at the end. It wasn't. My worst part of the episode actually was Omega.
Oh, God, that was awful.
It was horrible.
Sutek all over again, but worse.
Yes,
worse.
But worse. Yeah.
It was worse. And the way he ate the Ronnie.
He was literally a Titan.
Oh my God!
He was Kronos.
Well, I mean,
kid.
I thought the same thing. I'm like, wow, now you're really, stealing from the old stories.
Yeah, exactly. And it was just horrible. And I was fully expecting when the door opened to see somebody in the gold outfit or with the helmet or something, or a modern version of it.
It would have been so much more interesting.
Yes.
Which I think the Ronnie was expecting that too, because when the hand came out and they were all kind of like, what?
Yeah.
I appreciated that.
Yeah. And, how even the doctor said, he's become, become more beastly because he was, in the dimension he was trapped in or something. And I thought it was such a lame, it was like, we're getting Sutek 2.0 all over again. And I I did not like that. And then the doctor to pulling the thing off the clock and shooting, with the energy of a million, supernovas. It was just like, really, really. There were so many better ways to do stuff like this, and I think that was my weakest part of the story.
And
Well,
I
I
feel
think
like you could. There's so much you could do with Omega. You could make Omega into a really amazing villain that
Yes.
lasts throughout the series, but instead you just completely cut it down off at the knees and make it nothing. I mean, less than nothing. I mean, they defeated him in what, like 5 seconds? He eats the Ronnie and he's defeated.
He
He
was
pushes him
that's
back
it.
in his cave and then closes it.
Yeah,
That's
it was
it.
literally it was literally 5 minutes at the most. It wasn't even 5 minutes with the character.
And what a waste of a great actress with Archie Panjabi. I mean, I loved her Ronnie. And, I've been loving Anita Dobson as well. And I get that maybe we couldn't have two Ronnies running around after this, but I just was so enthralled with her performance over these kind of 2.25 episodes. And I was really hoping that, she was going to make her escape at the end of this. And then maybe it's not until another season or even two, but she comes back, because I was just loving her and what she was doing with the role. And then for her to get eaten and just that be the end of that, that was one of the major disappointments of the episode to me.
No, agreed completely. No,
Yeah,
and
I had to laugh with the only thing that saved it for me was Ronnie, Mrs. Flood / Mrs. Flood going, peace out, boom, and she's just going,
Yes.
like,
Yeah,
That was
that was funny.
I
Yeah.
love that. And
she's just like, nope.
Yep.
no, it's like, so much for the two Ronnies. I love that. And I was like, well, peace out. I'm out of here. Poof.
I don't know if it's because I finally caught on to it, but the baby god 7 of the 7 of the 7 of the 7
The
is a
God.
damn birthday candle. You kiss it, make a wish, and blow.
Yes.
That's how his power
Oh,
works.
I didn't
Yes.
even get that.
I
wish.
mean-
Oh no! Why did you put that in my
Wow.
head?
Yeah.
That's what it was.
That was established in the first episode. I
It
mean, in
was?
part 1, though. So, I mean,
Yes.
at least they were
Notice-
consistent.
Literally
I
the
didn't
very
correlate.
first scene of the episode
Yeah.
before. When
Yeah,
Ronnie
I just
took
didn't
the
get the
baby.
birthday candle.
Yeah.
reference.
Yeah, I didn't make that correlation of okay, that's what the kid is. Make a wish. I'm like, seriously?
Listen, it was something in this episode that made me realize that the whole first episode, the Church on Ruby Road, was like a Labyrinth remake, because he talks in this episode about, I've been in the halls of the Goblin King, and suddenly I'm like, wait a minute, isn't that a direct quote from Labyrinth? And it's not. But that was when I was like, oh my God, that episode
Exactly.
is pretty much
Exactly.
Labyrinth.
No, it is completely. And it was crazy with that. Now but I did, going back to the Ronnie, I did like when she teleported into unit headquarters. That was pretty awesome. And, like you had the stare down between, Mel and the Ronnie. But then I loved the explanation, how she went to Earth and to find the doctor, all she had to do was find a dumb blonde, to, follow around, and knew the doctor would eventually. And I loved how, Ruby was like, wait a minute, who's a dumb blonde? I loved that. And then how they introduced, how Mrs. Flood came in. Oh, hello, darling. Oh, it's a TARDIS. I loved Anita Dobson was awesome.
She's great.
She is great. And I hope we get more of her. I hope she's not done. We don't know.
I mean, no offense to Anita, because you know how much I've been singing her praises all season. Even though I know you found it annoying that she appears on there, I just love her. So it's like when she appears, she just adds so much. And I'm glad she's still around. But if you're going to choose between two actresses to continue, you don't necessarily go with the oldest one. For the future of the franchise. So that was weird. Yeah, I mean, I hope we see her again, but I mean, as we'll probably discuss later, I mean, we still don't know what the future holds for
No,
the franchise.
let's hold off on talking about that. The future holds. No, but let's maybe even wait till next week's episode to do that.
But the fact that, but here's what makes it difficult to do that, because RTD is like still thinking there's going to be like 8 more seasons because he's opening up and he's not addressing this. He's not, he's more interested in having fun with internet trolls. He's more interested in creating shocking moments. He's more interested in stunt casting, which is terrible stunt casting. I mean, I love Billie Piper. I don't even have nearly as many hang-ups about Rose as a character. But as the actress goes, I love Billie Piper. But as far, and I've been seeing like, oh, well, Billie Piper, like having Billie Piper show up at the end is stunt casting. And I'm like, it's terrible stunt casting, because outside, like if you're trying to sell the series, I mean, Billie Piper's good, but she's not going to sell anybody on joining up and watching Doctor Who. Like,
and that's where I think this was the whole point. Like it is stunt casting, because I really do. That's where I think it lends the. We didn't know that Shooty was going to leave. RTD didn't think it was going to leave, because think of every other time when we hear a doctor's going to leave, and then there's the search of who's going to be the next doctor and how many things we have to go through. And is it going to be Richard Iowade? Are they going to get Hugh Laurie? Are they going to get grab the list of doctors we always have?
Exactly.
So for them to all of a sudden be able to get Piper, I really think that was a last minute kind of thing of RTD going, hey, Billy, how about you come in here? You could stunt cast, and then maybe we can get Shooty back at some point.
That's not stunt casting. That's a Band-Aid.
I think that's
stunt casting would be
stunt
casting would be to get like Daniel Craig. Like if you want to get like somebody to put eyes on the franchise, instead you hire an actress that's so like mired in the franchise anyway that it just feels like. I saw someone comment that the show is now like going up its own ass, and I'm like, that's what it feels like.
Exactly,
it felt like a placeholder. That's what I think she was.
Yeah, like she's just a gimmick.
Yeah, and she's a placeholder. I don't think she's really stunt casting.
And the show is just he's just turned it into this big meta mess. It's like it's Ouroboros. It's the snake eating its tail.
Exactly.
In some ways, yes, I agree with that. But I love with Billy coming into through the regeneration. Is it Rose that he's emulating? Is it Bad Wolf? Mm-hmm. Is it is it the moment? Yeah.
I wish I cared.
Yeah, and it also, I loved that they also kept it ambiguous by not introducing Billie Piper as the Doctor.
No, they just said introducing Billie Piper. It's like, no, we know who Billie Piper is. We don't need to be introduced to Billie Piper.
No, but I know.
We all know who she is.
But but all the times it always has, introducing Ncuti Gatwa as the Doctor, or David Tennant as the Doctor, Matt Smith, as the Doctor. This didn't have that. And so I think there's a lot more to it.
I think we were robbed by the tried and true tradition of who's going to be the blimp, because how many how many episodes could we have done because of that?
I think
and we lost it.
I think we're still going to have that.
I wish it was Paul McGann. That would have been kind of a better Band-Aid. Give me another old Doctor.
That would have been awesome.
Could you imagine that? They're like, okay, we need another one.
That actually would have been a lot more interesting.
Paul, your job is to hold his beer while he goes off and does does his other project, and then when he comes back, pass that baton back to him.
Mm-hmm.
I would love that.
Well,
RTD.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting. I think it's going to be fun to speculate. What's going to happen. We're going to be waiting to see, is Disney picking up Doctor Who for season 3 or 4?
Yeah, I bet it's not.
Most likely.
Still had to search for it.
Yeah, but we up until yesterday, it was in the header.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Yeah,
it was in the header yesterday. It was not in the header this afternoon.
When I went to go watch it, it was not. I had to go search for it. But up to yesterday, Doctor Who was the very first one up there. So they were trying to promote it, at least this time out. Not just one day.
Well, the last episode, at least.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, I agree completely.
And also, they are going to have the spinoff, the war between land and the sea.
Not that you'd know that, because there's no advertising on Disney Plus for it.
Oh. Well, they won't advertise it until it gets closer.
You didn't even get the trailer on Disney.
Yeah.
I don't know why they wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
I don't know why they wouldn't do that.
So I'm surprised they didn't have it after the episode. You know, like they in the UK they got it, but we didn't get it here. So, or to any of Disney Plus anywhere around the world. So I'll be curious to see with that. It was I didn't like unit headquarters becoming a battleship.
I thought for a second it was about to become Voltron, and if that thing
Yeah.
became no, Kevin even said that. He's like, this thing starts walking, I'm out. I'm like, I don't, hold on, steady on.
No,
I thought it was going to fly or like, detach like the Star Trek saucer.
right.
I mean,
No.
at least they didn't go there, but it was lame.
I did like the effects of all of that too. I like the bone beasts. I thought they looked cool. I
they were
thought
so cool.
Shooty flying around in them and everything. I thought that was well done.
Shooty was flying around this time. Last time I wasn't thrilled with the Ronnie doing, but when Shooty was flying around this time, I kept on going boom, 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 flash, and it was just like, what? Gordon's alive?
Dipping down under London Bridge.
Exactly, and
put up the spine of the bone beast.
It was, I was just waiting for Brian Breslett to show up or something. Having the big wings and the big beard or something, it would have been awesome. For anyone who's younger, it's called Flash Gordon, 1980. Check it out, folks.
Yeah, we're old.
Yes, we're old, but it was that I liked that. I loved seeing the Zero Room. I thought that was pretty awesome. That was a nice callback to the Fifth Doctor's era.
Yeah, but it locks Belinda away for most of the episode.
I know.
And that's fine.
Too many characters.
It's not fine.
That's not fine. You take one of the best. I mean, I was really liking Belinda a lot, but then again, I think RTD just dumped all over that character by reducing her to a
protective mommy.
Yeah, protective mommy. One note. And then basically sitting in a box for half an episode, and I just and letting Ruby take over, and I was like, I can understand that Ruby's still got some stuff to do here, but I just thought that was a injustice to that character a lot, and I didn't appreciate that at all.
Yeah, Ruby totally eclipsed Belinda in both these last two episodes, and and it was difficult to watch because again we're getting to know Belinda. She's the main companion this season, and to see her not really have anything to do in these last two episodes. And really, I wasn't buying the end of her story either. I mean, we're all talking about the forcing in of the Poppy storyline there, but that was the reason she had to get home all this time. But that storyline made no sense. So the reason she had to get home made no sense, and it just really did, like you said, bomb her character and just
it did.
They forced her into motherhood.
Yeah, exactly, and that
I mean,
I didn't like it.
Be a mother. Be a good mother. Bye.
Yeah, this whole thing was supposed to be about how, or at least the theme of both episodes was supposed to be how forcing people into things, not allowing them to be themselves, forcing them into an idealized version of what somebody else thinks they should be is a bad thing. And yet that's exactly what RTD did. That's exactly what happened to Belinda.
Yep, absolutely.
And I was so excited. I was so excited in that very first episode when the doctor scans her and she calls him out on scanning her DNA without her permission. And what does he do in this episode? He scans her daughter's DNA that she suddenly cares so much about that she didn't have before. And she doesn't say anything about him, even though she's already chastised him for that. So, and again, we've seen this with many companions. There's no follow through for many of them on these character traits, even ones that, were initially made them so exciting as companions.
Mm-hmm. And I loved when she said, "Will I see you again?" And it's like, probably not.
Yeah. If RTD's still in control, probably, because he'll bring back everybody at some point.
Oh, yeah.
In one episode.
Exactly.
To hold doors open.
Exactly.
The 50 doctors.
Yeah. He uses characters like doorstops.
No, agreed. And, what's up?
Well, I kind of feel like he did that to to Rose, seeing Rose come back, where when Unit comes back to oh, we're here, and
she comes back into existence.
She comes back into existence. So it wasn't even like she was like wished into the little cornfield with everybody else. She was just completely gone. So I'm like, okay, that's really, sad and poignant, but she was just completely gone. But happy that she came back. The doctor makes the note that, he just thought, you didn't exist, so you didn't, blah, blah, blah. And what does RTD do? Just says that. Just used That's to it. Me, it was just you just used her as a prop to say about, being trans.
Right.
And didn't do anything with her character afterwards.
Right.
Right.
Good for them for getting a check for doing not much work.
But to me, I was just like, you just
you just fridged her.
Yes, exactly. I'm like,
again, she's another background character. So
I mean, it is not representation to just stick a character in and never do anything with them.
Exactly.
Okay?
I can't articulate my anger on that. Going, wait, you just did the one thing that you're lambasting people on. Of they're supposed to be, they don't exist. Well, look, see, they exist, and they're people, and they're normal. It's more than that. No, okay, just help Ruby put on her backpack. It's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I really thought that camp was going to go somewhere from the first episode, with Shirley and all the other people, that they might have at least a through line in the second episode to show them maybe helping the situation. And no, they're just gone. So they're making a point in the first episode and then don't do anything with it in the second episode.
Yeah, it was these people exist. Moving on.
Exactly. That's it. Yeah, I know. There was like...
And let's give him a happy ending.
Oh my God.
Let's give him one of my favorite lines in the whole thing is when Ruby's about to jump over there to the hideout or the headquarters or whatever, the Ronnie's headquarters. And she's like, "What do I do? Can I punch him?" And Kate goes, "Yes, you can." She's like, is like basically like, "Please do," like like a lot, like in the face and everywhere. And instead, she just, I guess it's to the character's credit that she's, does a kind thing, as Mel puts it, but it's really unsatisfying.
Then even she regrets it. Because she was like, "Oh, he gets the happy ending, but no Poppy,"
Right.
Yes.
And is it to the character's credit? Not really.
No.
Because this is, look, we're living in a world where there are no consequences for actions. And look at what happens. Okay.
Exactly.
That's not okay. So he's saying that it is not kind to actually allow people who are having, mental health or behavioral issues to get away with their behavior. That's not, he has not learned, Conrad has learned nothing. No, it would not be at all surprising if Conrad just turned into an even worse version of himself, because he has not had the option to learn anything.
No consequences.
There's no growth.
No, exactly.
Nothing.
I really wanted to see.
He's been retconned.
I wanted to see Ruby punch him. I really did.
Mel, Omega could have eaten him.
I would have been happy with that.
Yeah, actually.
Oh, okay. Go. Keep feeding on the world. There's one.
Yeah, exactly.
That would have worked for me.
No, exactly. And it was there. I think that was pretty weak. And, it's interesting because, there were way too many characters in this one. And, but we did get a longer episode too. We did get, an extra 15 minutes. And
yeah, I'm not sure that helped in this instance.
I didn't realize it. I thought it just felt like an eternity. I'm sorry.
We were all trapped in the hell dimension.
Mm-hmm.
Like me just screaming at the TV. End.
We're all trapped in the underworld, like Omega.
So, yeah, I thought, I wish RTD could write a good two-parter, but he obviously can't. There were moments in this I loved. There were moments I was grinning ear to ear, but then there was others where I wanted to throw stuff at the TV. At no point did I ever go, all right, I'm done with the series. That's it, type thing.
Oh, I did.
I know you. We know. We know. We know.
I mean, I didn't really in the end, but I had my moment.
Oh yeah, and there was just like, I'm looking forward to whatever comes next, and I'm hoping for good things. Will we get it? We'll have to go through some garbage, I'm sure. But you know what? I'm enjoying the ride. I think this last season has been one of the strongest seasons probably in 5 years.
I mean, overall,
Yeah,
I would say it was a good season.
Yeah, 6 out of 8, not bad.
yeah. I think
I agree.
Uh, even this episode, for me, I'm thinking, it's probably my least favorite of the episodes this season, but, I enjoyed every episode overall. And even the robots and, it was interesting. And I think Shooty owned the character.
Oh,
He
he's
came
so
into the,
good.
he came
Yeah,
so
he was
much into the
amazing.
Doctor, and I was so sad because when I saw OS that he was going to, he started glowing and saw it, and it was just like, oh, I'm not ready for this. No, 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 way too soon. And we never even got to see him go up against the Daleks. And
Nope. Cybermen?
no. And this is the first Doctor that actually, other than McGann on TV, who never went up against the Daleks.
Mhm.
So it's just.
Yeah, it's such a shame. I mean, that too is just such a disappointment. We're used to change in Doctor Who, and sure, most people are leaving after the third season, but most of the time they leave after the third season, but we've had them for 7 years because of all the wait time. So we're used to seeing them and interacting with them and living with their seasons over and over again. And Shooty's, it's a season short. It's only really 2 years we've had him, and I too I've been enjoying the way he interpreted that character, his joy. He brought joy for as much as he cried every episode. He brought a lot of joy to it as well. Which, again, I think Mary, you said this towards the beginning. You or Mike, that this is the Doctor that we needed right now, and so as much as I do look forward to the changes that occur and the way this show keeps reinventing itself, I'm going to have to sit with this for a long time because I'm really not ready for him to be gone.
No, exactly. Exactly.
Totally agree.
I don't know. Yeah, I know I don't want to speculate, but I mean, I don't know how you follow him.
Mm-mm.
It's not going to be easy.
It isn't going to be easy
and so I guess I have to give RTD a little bit of a pass for putting a sort of placeholder there until he can figure out what to do next. But yeah, he's been amazing, and he is a joy to watch, which makes this difficult. Like, and I know we're not ready yet, but or I don't think we're ready yet. But when we wrap up and rate this one, it's really difficult because on the one hand, the story is absolutely terrible, and there's so many bad things that happen in the course of this thing, and yet Shooty comes on screen, and I'm just like I can watch him all the time. I mean, he's just so good. I'm watching him regenerate that second time. I was like, he is just so good. So good. He's got so much potential. I mean, I can understand, his agent going, leave that show. You've got bigger things ahead of you. And I know he does.
Oh, he's going to be big. He is going to be huge.
I hope that's true. I mean,
especially with Disney's dragging their feet and keeping him from working and on air constantly. Because I mean, I could see where it would say, "Oh yeah, we've got three seasons ready to go back to shoot." Awesome, but he was in limbo.
Exactly.
That's not good for his career.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
No, exactly.
I really don't.
It's like, people who get laid off and, oh, we're going to bring you back, you're furloughed type thing. And, we're going to bring you back in 6 months. I'm not going to sit around 6 months and not work.
If I could have a, baby to kiss and blow into the wind, I would wish that Shooty would return. Like that Billy Piper's a placeholder, and then Shooty resumes, and we are back to having Shooty as the Doctor again.
At least one more
I would
season.
love that.
I feel like that is not in the cards, but never say never. So I will hope for that, but I obviously am not expecting it.
No. So, all right. Should we do some final thoughts before we go ahead and rate this one?
The last thought I have is that I really thought that the Ernest Borgnine joke it fell flat, and I thought it was in poor taste.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, I was kind of like, he's alive again. I'm like, what?
Why would that be
why are you picking on
Is this
Ernest
supposed to be
Borgnine?
funny?
Yeah, I know. Why are you picking on Ernest?
Yeah, come on, Mikhail. Come on.
That was a weird thing to throw in, but
is the Doctor just regenerating so he can kill Ernest Borgnine? Like, what
and they did
going,
twice. They referenced him twice.
Yeah, they did.
I was like,
that's like one of his friends dared RTD. I dare you to put this obscure Ernest Borgnine reference in there.
Yeah,
it was Steven. It was Steven.
Right. RTD was like, okay.
They had a bet.
Well, it was interesting, when Faulkner and I were watching it, and Shirley did the whole thing with the wheelchair and hit the rocket, and it left the, burn marks behind and everything. It's like, did she make it to 88 miles per hour? Exactly.
I thought, so like, did she go back in time? What the
exactly. So, all right, let's go ahead and rate this 1 out of 5 TARDISes. 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. And our regulars, we have the option to change last week's score also. I will start with Mary Ogle this time.
I can't remember what I gave it last week.
I think you gave a 4.
Was it a 4? I think it was a 4.
I think we all gave 4s except for Mike Gordon, who gave it a 3.5.
Yeah. I mean, that one I think I would just keep as a 4. I can, see it as its own thing. This one, oh my God.
Okay. This one?
Yeah, maybe a 2. I mean, there are moments in here that I like. And so I don't want to completely discount it. The story is terrible, but the acting is great. Shooty is amazing. Everyone's actually doing a great job. The sets look great. The special effects look great. The music was good. The directing was good. The story was god-awful.
It was all over the place.
Yeah, it was all over the place. And it's funny. I was thinking while I was watching it, I was kind of laughing to myself because I was thinking, Gordon last week was saying, don't expect it to be good. It's not going to be good. And in my mind, I was thinking, no, I'm not going to believe that. I'm going to be positive. And I'm like, well, Gordon was absolutely right. He was so right.
I'm so sorry I was so right. Even I didn't realize how right I was last week.
That does happen.
So I mean, I don't know. Just out of sheer spite, maybe I'm going to give it a 2.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not leaving the show, but boy, I really admit that for about a minute there, I considered it.
Okay. Mel.
Oh God. It's sad that during the entire episode, I did think of you, Mikey G, and that was thinking, stick the landing, stick the landing. Will you please, or just stick the landing? And I'm like, it's not gonna stick the landing. What the heck is going on? I know I gave it a 4 for the last one. I will hold it as a 4. It's still a great episode. And I like how it ends with to be continued. And just let your mind think whatever it was.
Just make up your own fanfiction.
Make up your own thing. Get to go on Word, go on, make your Google Doc, write your fanfic, and
just hand it to Big Finish.
Hand it to Big Finish and go, please.
Oh, I loved how
find a baby, kiss it, and ask that James Goss write something better for Big Finish.
He had a magic door. How the hell did he have a magic door?
Just so there were, yes, I mean, the acting was good. Everything was good except the damn script. Because I really, in my heart of hearts, believed this wasn't what he planned. This wasn't what he planned at the beginning of the season. This isn't what he planned when he was shooting the thing. And this wasn't what they wrapped with initially. And that's, nope. I firmly blame Disney and all of the other business end of entertainment for putting getting their hands sticky with all of what had happened. I think this is what happens when you realize that entertainment really is a big business and things change and actors get changed and and that sometimes quality entertainment unfortunately takes the hit for that. Um, at best, I'll give this a 2. I really didn't like it. I'm still kind of angry and grieving and weird and uh, watch the first one, enjoy the to be continued, and think of what was. And until then, for me, let's wait until see what the heck happens with Billy and if she's the moment, if it's Bad Wolf, if this is a hey, we're taking a pause, taking a break for Shooty, blah 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 blah. I'm giving it a 2, and then I'm probably not going to watch this again until whatever season happens. Then I'll go back and watch it.
Okay, Elizabeth.
I'm going to give this one a 3. And because I probably am not going to rewatch it a great deal, but when I do, I'm going to rewatch it because of all those little moments that I really loved. Jodie coming on, seeing Mel stand up to the Ronnie, seeing Shooty bring joy to the screen every time he pops on. And I'm also going to give it a 3 too, because, I might not rewatch it too many more times, but I'm going to rewatch it more than I would rewatch a lot of the episodes from the Chibnall era. So
Ding.
I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it. I thought it was a very mediocre episode. It was exactly what, we expected from an RTD episode, and it had some great moments as well as some really horrible moments. But I think overall, I didn't hate it as much as I hated The Time of the Doctor. That was the one that I was cringing and waiting for it to get over, and have never watched again since. So, I got to, I hit 2 there, didn't I? Chibnall Land at The Time of the Doctor. So, but yeah, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 TARDISes.
Okay. Mr. Gordon.
Oh, this was tough. By the way, the Jodie sequence gets 13 TARDISes.
Yes.
Damn straight.
Yes.
The rest of it, yes, even though I knew going in that this is RTD's MO, right? So no surprises as far as how much of a mess it is. Although even I don't think I was even prepared for this. Now, did he have some issues that caused behind the scenes that caused this mess? Sure. But then again, we have to just judge it the way it is, right? So there's no like, oh, well, he was, like cut at the knees. Well, he still has to do his job. And his job is to tell a good story and to entertain people and to get people involved and interested in this franchise. And boy, does he not really come through. Is it the worst that he's ever done? No, and I have to, piggyback on Liz. Let's say the Chibnall era was worse. I'll even point to my boy Stephen Moffat. Man, Matt Smith's last episode is terrible. Again, that's another instance where the actor leaves and Moffat, the showrunner, has to pick up the pieces the best he can and go forward. So I am going to give this a 2.5. And there are elements of this, like Jodie's appearance and like Shooty and the acting and the production crew. I am not knocking anybody who works on the production crew of this because I thought it looked good. It sounded good. It was acted. I mean, we never really even talked about Kate, and she's amazing in this. And I'm so looking forward to the spinoff because it seems to be like her show, and I'm like, this is going to be amazing.
Captain Kate with their like little steering wheel?
Oh man, she's just great. And everybody else who, piles in, they only get a few minutes to do their thing, but yet they do it so well. But yeah, 2.5 I'm going to rest with. And, I'm not going to change my opinion of last week, but man. I don't know if I'm really excited about what's coming next.
Well, I'm going to be optimistic about it, and that's a shocker hearing from me. So, it's going to be real interesting to see. My score is going to surprise some folks. I'm going to give this a 4. I actually enjoyed this one. I enjoyed the effects were amazing in this one. One of the most beautiful scenes I've seen all season was Shooty's regeneration, him leaning out of the TARDIS and the glow coming off of him and going off into space. It was a little cheesy having him do it, in front of the star that was joy to the world, that was just cheese. But I liked it enough that you know, I'm trying to suppress the screaming inside for some of the really bad story parts. And will I watch this again? Yeah, I probably will watch this again when I get the discs. I will probably, come back to it because how good Shooty was in this and, enjoying his time as the doctor. I thought Belinda was a waste. I thought I enjoyed Ruby a little bit more. Than I thought I would. But I did want to see her slam Conrad, either hit him with the TV in the head or something. Him getting the happy ending was one of the worst things they could have done. And the whole things with Omega was just awful. The creature, which we talked about. And I didn't do it, but what picks it up? I was going to do a 3.5 at the most, but then you had the Jodie scene, and that picked it back up to a 4 for me. I I ached when I saw Jodie up there. I was almost like, this is what Jodie could have been. This is what her character could have been like, and I wish we would have gotten more of that. That's the honest truth. And I made me realize, how much she was robbed. But I am also positive to think that in July they're coming out with Big Finish with her and Yaz. So I am looking forward to seeing that with no Chibnall involved. So we'll be able to, see that. So I'm going to stick with the 4 for last week. I'm going to stick with a 4 for this week. Did I think they nailed the landing? No. I would have loved to seen the original scenes that they originally had planned. I would have loved to seen, because we didn't get Susan in this at all. No mention. And, that would have, opened more questions. And I
what we needed.
Yeah, but we need even more questions. So, to all the folks who thought I'd be upset that I saw that Billy Piper was at the end, not upset. Didn't even scream and yell and throw things at the TV. That's, pretty good for me. Do I want more of Shooty? Heck yes. And I hope somehow it can be arranged that maybe this is just like a red herring or something, and that will get him further as the Doctor. We'll see. We don't know, but we'll talk about it again next week, because next episode is going to be our season wrap up, and I'm sure we'll have more to bitch and moan about, and scream and yell, and we've got great folks to do, and we definitely would love to hear from you guys at home. Feedback at ourstationwho.com. It's definitely the best way to get in touch with us. And if you've made it this far into the video, as always, please like and subscribe. The little arrow, the little star, the little bell, the thumbs up, whatever, wherever you're listening to us, wherever you're doing, please like and subscribe. We would really appreciate it. And that's how people find us. That's how people support us. And, that's how we get more and more, views. Please, we'd really appreciate it. All right. We did say we had a piece of email. So our friend Peter actually wrote us. And so let me pull up the email, and he said, "Hi, Mike. Waited a couple days after seeing the last episode to wrap my head around it. You and everybody else, my friend. Mm-hmm. Kudos for you and your crew. Keelong in an Omega returning. Wonder if the Ronnie is really gone. I knew Poppy was going to be an issue as they could not travel with her. Seems a bit contrived, but that's Doctor Who. I think my favorite line was when the Doctor saw Jodie and said, I was expecting the other guy. He is always turning up." I think
Except in this
everybody was
episode,
like,
they don't even mention like that there's another doctor. Even when he says, "I'm the last of the Time Lords," like I should
He's
be
not.
happy that, and there's another that you
what about-
bi-generated.
Yeah. Oh, I loved when he brought up bi-generation to Jodie's doctor, and she was like, "What?
Yeah,
What's up?"
yeah. That was the
Like,
only time they mentioned it, and yet
yeah.
so stupid.
As always, enjoyed the podcast as your crew has an encyclopedic knowledge of Doctor Who. You keep thinking that, my friend. And I am a much more casual fan and maybe a little more forgiving. But I have to agree, RTD is evil. We'll be rewatching this summer and awaiting the specials. Thanks, Peter. Thank you, Peter.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Peter.
it.
Thank you, Peter.
Brought up some very good points there. And as always, folks, it's just great to, have Doctor Who talk. And, we could all agree that we, even though some of us wanted to give up on the show, that we'll be continuing this podcast, looking at older stuff. So it'll be good. But we're not.
And we've got a spinoff coming.
That's true.
Yes.
We'll talk about the spinoff next week. We've been talking way too much tonight. We'll talk about the trailer. You can find it up on YouTube or wherever you find, videos and such. It's everywhere. It's all over social media.
Disney Plus.
Exactly. Disney Plus, dropping the ball big time. But let me thank everybody for being here tonight. Elizabeth, thank you so much for everything, as always.
My pleasure. Glad to be here.
Is there anything, do you want to promote or talk about or anything real quick?
Not really, but I'm usually around the ESW Facebook groups. I'm keeping track of posts there and, of course, emailing you guys from time to time. So just thanks for having me.
Oh, no problem. Don't stop, as we like to say. We do appreciate you. And let's thank our regulars for being here. Of course, Ms. Mary Ogle, thank you.
Oh, thank you. Another season gone.
Another season's behind us. So now into the void, as we like to say. You want to promote your stuff?
Sure, you can find me at maryogle.com or on Etsy at eVision Arts.
Awesome. And Melanie Dean, thank you so much as always.
Thank you so much as always. I love my new little home here. And even though the first season being with y'all kind of ended for me, if they stick the landing, I can't wait for many more.
At least this one you didn't have to beat up your husband, so it's good.
No, because I was just excited. I was just more of a hit. It was the opposite. Him just going, "Yep, well, I'm done."
I must admit, I was actually concerned for his safety during this episode.
I get when I'm excited and happy, and thankfully that didn't happen often in this episode.
Well, there you go.
Except for Jodie, I did get. I was like, so once I did that.
Okay, so want to promote your stuff?
You can find me on Instagram at Pieces of Melee, or for my stained glass items, you can see me at Diamond Tech Crafts.
Yay! We'll have, as always, we'll put it up on the video and everything so people can find it. And Mr. Gordon, we made it to another one, sir.
We did, boy. This one wasn't easy, but yes, we did. And as always, it was my pleasure. And Liz,
was it really your pleasure for this one?
To talk about it? Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I believe me, you guys were all in my thoughts while I was watching it. So the first and second time. But Liz, you will be back because don't think you've escaped the geek seat. So
you've uncovered my evil, diabolical plan, Mike Gordon.
RTD might have saved you this round.
That is awesome. You want to promote your stuff, sir?
Yes, certainly you can find me on other podcasts such as the Dragon Con Report as well as Bat Chums, but also I just want to give a shout out because I do have a copy of the Sherlock Holmes book, 52 Weeks, 52 Sherlock Holmes novels, and it is available on paperback and hardcover. I believe you can get it at geniusbookpublishing.com, or I believe it's also available on Amazon if you can stomach going there. But anyway, I am so proud to be part of this book. I only have one essay in it, but it's good reading. So
awesome, sir. All right. For me, my other podcast, Tales from Hollywoodland, we just got done talking to Josh Rosen, who is he's an imitator, and so he does impressions and such. He does an amazing Woody Allen. He does Barack Obama. He does lots of Larry David and some current stuff, some older stuff. And he even does the orange taco. So it's pretty cool to, be able to hear him do that. So it's some fun stuff to be able to do. So check that out on Tales from Hollywoodland. Over on Julian Schlossberg's Movie Talk, this week we are talking to actress Juliana Margulies. And we have a great conversation about how she got the role for ER and how she almost turned down ER to be on Homicide: Life on the Streets as an extra. So it's pretty cool stuff. So some great stuff there. You can find those podcasts wherever fine podcasts are found. And, since we didn't do news, my show and tell got today in the mail season 1 of John and Burley. So if you want to watch some really good Doctor Who,
Does that have the story that was sample that they sort of flashed to in this?
Yeah, this one.
No,
this one is that in that DVD?
No, because he doesn't fight the Daleks in the first season.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
I think it's the second or third season of his that story came from. So yeah, definitely check it out. You definitely find that up on the site we don't like because they don't promote us, but Amazon. So definitely, find it wherever or find Doctor Who materials found. Thank you, everybody. We will see you soon. Check out our Facebook group. Check out our Instagram. We've got lots of great stuff coming up. And since Doctor Who's ending, we're not ending here. We have a ton to do. And we're already scheduled all the way through the summer. So, not unlike Disney, we promise to keep on coming for the next. On behalf of everyone here, I'm your host, Mike Faber, and we'll see you here next time on Earth Station Who. Peace and be well. Bye, everybody. We're all going to search for Poppy. Bye.
You have been listening to Earth Station Who, a pop culture podcast dedicated to all things Doctor Who, featuring talents from throughout space and time. All topics on the show are the sole opinions of the individuals and are to be used for entertainment value alone. You can subscribe to our show wherever fine podcasts are found, or check out our website, earthstationwho.com. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook or Instagram, and if you enjoyed the show, please write to us at feedback@earthstationwho.com. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you on the next journey of Earth Station Who.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping for the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.